well, since there's nobody else here, I guess we can kind of get started. Now that it's just me, you and I, we can kind of do more personalized if that helps you. So we can kind of, you want to start off fresh and watch me do it, or do you want to do it, or how do you want to approach this? It's up to you.
Let me see. I guess I could try to do it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll read through it then, and then I'll give you a couple minutes to like diagram out number 11, like diagram it out. And then after you finish your diagram, let me know, and then I can show you mine. Kind of, we can go through the deductions together if that works.
Okay, sounds good.
So here we have an industrial electrician attaches exactly 7 components, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z, to a circuit board in exactly 7 consecutive steps. One component is attached per step. Each component is attached exactly once, and each is attached by hand or by machine, but not both. So immediately when I see this, I'm saying, okay, there's 7 spots where we have 7 attachments, 7 components. So it all works out where there'll be 1 in each. There's no like weird overlapping things. That makes this game a little easier because it's fully exhaustive, right? Every component is in one spot, and there's one spot for every component. And also we have the aspect of either hand or by machine, but not both. So here we have X. Rule 1 is X, the 4th component attached. So that gives us something to put in there immediately. Exactly 2 components are attached by hand at some time before X is attached. No component is attached by hand before T is attached. W is attached at some time before T. Y is attached at some time after both Z and S. And the 6th component attached is attached by hand. So here we have this ordering game. So if you want to diagram it out, we can go from there.
And actually, I think I'm gonna need help. I don't know how I'm gonna diagram this.
Yeah, for sure. So let me actually just scroll down here. I'll just kind of make a new one because I have one made, but we can go through it together, and if that helps kind of see a full approach.
Yeah, I don't know how to approach this at all.
No, of course, yeah, no worries. So we have an industrial electrician attaching exactly 7 components, right? And exactly 7 steps. So here we're looking, we see, okay, 7 things and 7 steps means it's probably an ordering game, right? We have like a 1, 2. So if we have 7 things, right? We have, what is it? S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z, V, W, X, Y, and Z, right? So those are the 7 components we have. And we know we have 7 steps, right?
Yeah.
So because we know it's ordering, I like to do it this way. It's up to you, but I think this way is much easier, right? So we have 7 steps.
I'd do something similar. Like I was starting that way, but then like with the rules, I was like, I don't know how to put it in the graph.
Yeah, so let's do it like this. So now I see that I have, okay, so we have our components, right? So I have like do this real quick. So sorry, give me 1 second. So I think I have these, right? These are my different steps. And if I have these different steps, right? I know up here, right? These are our components, right? These are our components, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put the components up here. We also have how they're attached, right? They're attached by machine or hand too, right? We see how that one works.
Mm-hmm.
So we know each spot is going to have 1 component attached by something, right?
Yeah.
So what I like to do is some people do like a grid diagram like this where they have like they have 2 lines, right? You might see that too. Well, let's say instead of a CA over top, like the component attachment, they have the component, let's say S attached by hand, right? I think you might see it sometimes. I just do it this way because it makes it more clear for me. but that's about personal preference more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say this is our setup, if that makes sense. Do you see how we got to this initial diagram? We didn't do the rules yet, but this is kind of the diagram.
Yes.
So you're going to put a component in all of these spots and either M or H in each of these spots. So let's go to rule 1, right? Rule 1, we know X equals 4, right?
Yes.
Right off the bat. No, X equals 4. So you put that in, right? Next, we know we're going to have 2 H's before 4, right? You have 2 H's. I kind of just do it like this, 2 H's before. The dashes don't mean before for me. So you write the word before. If it wasn't on the laptop, I probably would, but it's a lot of writing. So you have 2 H's before 4, right? Same thing as 2 components attached by hand at some time before X, right? So you know that one of these has to be 4, right? So you're gonna have, let's see how I do it. All right. So what I did is there's gonna be no H's before T, right?
Yeah.
That's the next rule. Well, now I see, right? I know T can't be 5, 6, or 7, right?
Yeah.
Because there has to be, X has to have 2 H's before it. There can be no H's before T, right? So H also can't be 3rd, right? Does that make sense? Or yes, T, sorry. T can't be 3rd. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Do you see why that is?
No H before T and 2 H before. Hold on. Let me put it my screen side by side with the rules on the
Oh, yeah, you're
LSAT.
good. We're in no rush here, too. So we'll go at your pace. That works. And you can let me know if I need to slow down.
Okay. Let me turn it up. So no component by hand before T. No H before T. And then okay, we're good.
Okay, so you see how there's no H before T. There has to be 2 H's before number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you see why T cannot be in 3 through 7?
2 H before 4. 3 through 7. Because nothing could go behind, no hand attachment could go behind it.
Exactly. So like because we know in spot 4, X there has to be 2 H's before spot 4. We know if T's in 5, 6, or 7, there has to be at least 2 H's before it, right? And that's not allowed according to rule 3, right?
Yeah.
So we know T
Yeah.
can't be 4 too because X is already there. T can't be 3 too, right?
Yeah.
Because then there'd have to be at least 1 H before it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So T right now we're looking at is T can only be 1 or 2, right? So now let's go to rule 4. We see W is before T, right? So now we know T can't be 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me just go over the other rules. I guess because like the whole like other variables are also getting me mixed up right now.
Yeah. What are the variables, I think?
Like the M and H, like I don't like I understand what you're saying. I just
Do you want me to kind of diagram why T can't be there? Does that work?
Yeah, because I mean this is like I'm diagramming it the way you're doing it, and I haven't done it like that, so it's a little kind of putting me off.
Yeah, well, which way do you normally do? Normally do it that way instead?
No, that's the thing. I don't think it was gonna work
Okay. So
that way.
let's say I know before spot 4, I'm gonna have to have two H's down here, right?
Yeah.
Two
Okay.
H's and an M. So I can have it that way. I can have a C and an A. Let's just do it down here, right? Sorry, it's a very bad handwriting, but I have an X here, right? I can have it this way. H, M, H, right? Right?
Yeah.
And I can also have it H, H, M, right?
Um.
I mean, not according to the rules right now. You can't have it that way, but like that's what it's saying is we have two, like rule 2 is saying we have two H's before X, right?
Okay.
I'll write this X to make it better. That helps, maybe. Does that make sense now?
Yes.
And you can be
And
honest.
also, I guess I'm putting the rules a little differently the way I write it, because I guess that was also just throwing me off. I was writing the way you put the rules,
Yeah,
and
always write.
I
You don't
guess
have to follow the way I write my rules. You can always do your way. I think this is, and honestly, I think diagram rules is good. Yes, when it's like a linear game like this, but I also think reading the rules and making sure you understand them is more important. So do we see now? Let's move on to this. All right, is that okay? You kind of
yeah,
see
that's
that
good.
now. Okay, so let's move on to where we know we can't have T in spot 1 now, right? Because
Yes.
W has to come before it. So T has to be in spot 2, right?
Yeah.
So if we know T has to be in spot 2, we know W has to be in spot 1 then, right?
Yes.
So that's already a lot of information. And because we know, and let's look at, we haven't even diagrammed all the rules yet, but because we know that WT, right, we have WT, we know W has to be attached by machine, right?
Um. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because of rule 3.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. You understood that. That's really good. And now we have, and next we know T is attached by hand, and rule 3 is attached by hand, right? Or spot 3 is attached by hand, because there has to be two H's before X, right?
Okay. Yes.
So now we already know that no matter what game we have, it has to look somewhat like this, according to the first 4 rules even. So now
Yeah.
we know that now we have Z and S, right? Have to come before Y, correct? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Rule 5. And
Yes.
then we know 6 is just 6 equals H, right? So we'll
Yeah.
put that in there real quick. So if we know that that Z and S have to come before Y, we know that Y can only be in spot 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
Now that we've already made all these deductions, and we know Z and S both can't be last, right? So basically in the last spot, we know it has to be either Y or what's the one variable let's not talk about? W? No, we're here WT X.
V.
Yeah, V, exactly. So we know spot 7 now has to be Y or V, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of made all the deductions we can make, and this game board's actually kind of almost filled in, right?
Yes.
Like there are not really many ways we can go from here. I know that was kind of quick. Do you want to go through any rules and kind of how we got this game board filled in? Do you want me to go over it one more time all the way through?
Yeah, just one more time, just so like I understand exactly like the way I put my rules now and looking at the diagram, I understand it, but I just want to hear it, I guess.
No, of course.
The way you explained it was good.
Yeah. So first thing we do, we see rule 1, x equals 4, right? So I'm gonna put it in the 4th spot. First thing I do. Next, I see I have 2 h's before x, which means in this A section down here, right?
Yeah.
In components 1 through 3, we know we're gonna have some MHH combination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either HMH, MHH, or HHM, right? According to these
Yes.
first 2 rules. Now we add a third rule where there's no H before T. Well, if we know this, we know T can't be in spots 4 through 7. Can't be in spot 4 because X is already there. It can't be spot 5 because that means there's already 2 H's that have come before it because of rule 2. And same with 6 and 7, right?
Yes.
T also can't be in spot 3 then, because if T's in spot 3, we would still have, there's still a guaranteed, there's still have to be
That'll
an H
be an
before it.
8.
Yeah, there's still has to be an H before it, exactly. So now from these first 3 rules, we know T has to be in spot 1 or 2. But then rule 4 says there has to be W before T. So if we know W is before T, we know W has to go in W can't go in spot, W has to go in spot 1, T has to go in spot 2. Because we know T can't go in spot 1 now, right? Because W has to come before it. So T has to come in spot 2, W has to go in spot 1 because W comes before T. Are we good there?
Yes.
Okay. Now we know in the 1A section, we know it has to be a machine attached because of rule 3. So now we know in 2 and 3 in the A section, they will have to be attached by hand because of rule 2. And from this, we look at rule 5 and say, okay, we have to have a Z and an S before Y. So the only way we can have a Z and we know Y can't be third because there's no Z and S before it. We know Y can't be fifth because either Z or S are before it. So Y has to be 6th or 7th, right?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go over that one more time?
Yeah. Yeah, because like when you say no, like I look back at the rule and I'm like, okay, because of this. Like I have the graph and everything, and just like I don't know.
No, you're good. It's a complicated game for sure. So if I put Y here, why can't it be there?
Why can't be there? Because W and T are already like permanently there.
Or why can't Y
And
be number 3? Sorry.
oh,
No, you're good. Keep going. Sorry.
why can I go in number 3? Because it needs a Z and an S before it.
Exactly. So we can already cross off Y from being 1 through 4, right? If you put
Yeah.
Y in, why can't Y be in spot 5?
Because X is in 4.
Yes.
And
Yep. Keep going.
and wait, what?
So why can't Y be in spot 5?
Oh, because X is in 4, and then
You can put like a Z or S here, right?
yeah.
But there's no Z and S aren't before it, right? Does that make sense or no?
No, I don't know what you're. So why can that be 5? Because 4 is an X, and then I don't get the second part you're saying.
Yeah. So if Y is in 5, I can put Z here, right? But then S is going to be after Y. And that's against rule 5. Or I can put S here.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Like I just okay. Yeah, I was already dismissing like S already because I'm like, no, it can't be there at all. But you're clarifying like, 'cause then I'll end up being in front of Y. Okay, I understand. Yeah.
So Y can't be in spot 5 then too, right?
Yeah.
So now we know Y can be in 6 or 7, right? Yeah, that
Yes.
works. So if we know that, so one big thing for these linear games, making sure you make those deductions, like you get to those spots quick, if that makes sense. This is a little more complicated because it's after all the other rules. But so if I know, let's say they give us a game, right? In this game, ignore everything else. They say that W has to come before both T and X, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, right from this bat, if they give me that rule, I know W cannot be sixth or seventh, right? Just looking at this made up rule.
Yeah.
Because a T and X both have to follow it. And if it's 6, T and X both can't follow it. If it's 7, obviously nothing can follow it, right?
Yes.
So most linear games give you some rules like this. And so as soon as you see this, you also know T and X can't be first, right?
Yeah.
So those are like some rules they always give you that really help you set up the game and kind of make those deductions quickly. So it's good seeing it in a more advanced way here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So now we know in spot 7, we know also Z and S can't be there, right?
Z and S.
Can't be in spot 7, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Because why?
Yeah, because Y wouldn't fit there.
Exactly. That you have to have an 8 category. Exactly. See, you're getting it. You got it. And then, so now we know in spot 7, there's only 2 things that could be there: Y or V. Right?
Yes.
So I'd say that, and we put 6 in the H spot. It's easy. But so now we've done everything we can to kind of set this game up. Right?
Yeah.
And I'd say this is one of those games where once you have this set up, you're pretty much done. Like there's not much more critical thinking after this, honestly. So why don't you
Yeah,
try
it's like
number?
that's how I like get discouraged with these type of games because like I'm like I don't even know how to graph it, and then like now that we did all this, I'm like it wasn't that difficult.
It's very difficult if you've never seen it before. But once you have a
Oh
system
yeah.
you apply to every single game, it gets so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Games are all about practice. Other ones are about like how well you read. Like reading competition is all about how well you read. It's like terminology. Games, there's a right answer every time, and it's all about how much you practice with them. Really, I recommend it depends on how intense you're studying. If you're not studying intense and not doing it that much, I do 2 games a day, a game a day, maybe. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like wake up, do 1, do 2, depending on how long it takes you. Just do them. Don't consider time yet. And then as you start getting very accurate, then start putting a time restriction on it.
No, yeah, I'm still trying to get like a good schedule. Like I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and because I have work at 8, so I go to the gym and then go to work early, do some games there, and then after work I'll come home and study more, go to class.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get a good schedule. I'm mixing up all the different sections as well.
No, I get it. I think games are the easiest section to improve on, if that helps.
No, yeah, and even with like my own studying, like it's helped me a lot. Like when I just started, like I've been even just figuring out my wrong answers. Like I'll see other questions. I'm like, oh, I messed up on that last question. I understand this now.
Yeah, it's a section everybody normally starts off poorly because they never see anything like this, and they make it better in the end. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But so do we see how this game's all set up now, right?
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the questions then. So number 11 says, which one of the following could be an accurate list in order of the first 3 components attached? Well, we know we have to have WT in the first 2, right?
Yes.
So immediately eliminate C, D, and E, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we
then
know, yeah, go ahead.
and then B, because Y cannot be on
Exactly. So the
spot.
correct answer is A.
Yeah.
So now move on to question 12.
Must be attached by machine. W.
Yep. So see how quickly those first two went because you did all the deductions and everything?
Yeah. Like literally none of my games have gone this smoothly. Like usually it takes
This is
forever
one that,
diagramming.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, just like I take longer diagramming and like I make it just more I feel like I just make it more complicated on myself.
Yeah, it's all about doing one diagram and making all the deductions again. And then just, well, I don't know if I should just last time. I probably did. But so when I finish this, let's say this is what number was that last one? That's one number 12, right? We'll say 12. We'll say start here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the first one. I would do number 12 here. And sometimes you only need a diagram like that last one. The last two you didn't really even need to. You already have this first diagram. So 12, I'd go C and A. I make my diagram for this one. And as soon as I'm done, I draw a line under it and go 13 and do 13 right here. Right? So that way I'm not drawing
Yeah, and
diagrams
that's
anywhere. My page is all scatterbrained and everything.
yeah, that's exactly how I do mine as well. And that's so it's just like I don't know, like it's not confused. Yeah, I guess it could be confusing because I keep looking back at what I just did, or just like second guessing myself a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think games are one thing where you don't double check. I'd say it was just so messed up, but I think it's what happens. Like, let's say you're doing this one and like you can't find the answer right, and you find this one, and you know this one doesn't work. I would also immediately cross through it instead of erasing, right? I would put a
Mm-hmm.
line through it. That way you're not looking back on it previously thinking, oh, what happened there? It's more about staying organized in that regard.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move on to 13 then. Do you understand 12, kind of how we get to 13 now?
Yes.
So if V is the seventh component attached, each of the following components be attached by machine except what?
Um.
Do you want to
Why?
do this? Let's see. Yes. Right? Can you explain why that is?
Why is there so? Let me see. Because then Y would have to be 6, and under 6 it's hand.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, one thing that got me is I put Z and S in here, and I forgot you could switch them around, and then it could be machine here, right? So, does that make sense?
No.
So there's two different games that work here.
Oh, okay.
Y has to be sixth, so both Z and S. So yeah, the correct answer is Y. No need to overthink it. Another one where you don't really have to graph that much, you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this next one. So for this one, 14, I would say eliminate answer choices you know are wrong no matter what. Like I see STV, well I know T has to be 2. So I know T can't be I know T can't be 4, right?
Yeah. Wait, T. Yeah, T can't be.
Eliminate anyone with T in it. And also W can't be 4th, right?
Yeah, because it has to be
Oh, sorry,
behind.
6th. I meant 6th. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, because it had to be behind T.
Yep.
So it'd be D.
Yep. Another one where you don't have to diagram it all again. Yeah.
Oh, this is crazy to me. I feel like in every logic game I've done, I diagram
So
everything.
much. Yeah.
Like I put like, okay, let me put every scenario that could happen. And then
You
that's
just
when I
don't
get confused.
and you don't have time for that, honestly, in the real one. That's why It's not testing how well you diagram, it's testing how well you make deductions from the diagrams.
Okay.
So next one. This is a lot like number 12, actually.
Wait, we're on 15?
Yeah, 15, right?
Okay. Which of the following components must be attached by hand? It could be Z or S.
We're looking must be, not can be.
Oh, must by hand T.
Yep.
Okay. And that's what gets me too, because I know there's some that say like
Could be true.
with or
Must be
without.
true. Yep.
Yeah, and I always think I'm like, so it can be, could it be in the same like together? And I totally misread it. And then when I look at my wrong answers, I read again. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just totally disregarded that.
Yeah, I get that. For sure. All right, now 16.
If S is attached by machine, which of the following must be true? So S could be 3 or 5.
Well, we know 3 is attached by hand, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. So that means Z is attached by hand as well.
Yeah, right. Because Z could be either 3 or 6, but it can't be 7.
Yeah. So
So
be
then,
A.
yeah. And now you're done with that game.
I've never finished a game that fast. Not
I-
even this, especially that difficult, quote unquote difficult, because now doing the diagram and the rules, like I feel like I could have got this if I just like really applied it myself. It's just like, I guess at first glance, it looks really difficult.
Yeah, I know it does. So let's see. All right. So, do you have any questions about this game at all?
No, actually, this was a really good game. I don't think I've done one this difficult.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything else. Any notes or anything? Sorry, just copy and paste everything. But does this kind of make sense now?
Yes, it does. It actually cleared up questions that I wrote for myself in my practice book I have with logic
That's good.
games.
I think also it's one of those things where if you have a hard diagram, you have easy questions as long as you crack the diagram, if that makes sense. Because if you didn't notice that T had to be second, or W has to be first, you'd be doing all those games, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. That's why it takes me so long. And then I start questioning, like, okay, but for every scenario, I'm like, I could just do one diagram and then just like literally that's all we did. We didn't even add to it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna probably start switching up my graphs for sure.
Yeah. No, I think, yep. Let's see. Let's do another one. Let's go to question 1 in the same game. And kind of, I think there's some deductions there. I haven't done it yet. So we'll do it together then one more time. Just kind of show how those deductions are made. Because I haven't done this one yet, so I don't know.
On number 1?
Yeah. So first, like, prep test 91, section 1, game 1, about experts, right?
Yes. Okay.
So we see that each of 5 experts, a lawyer, a naturalist, an oceanographer, a physicist, and a statistician, individually give exactly 1 presentation at a conference. The 5 presentations are given consecutively. Each presentation is in exactly one of the 4 following languages: French, German, Japanese, and Mandarin. Each expert speaks exactly one of the languages. The following conditions must hold. So let's do this kind of quickly, right? So we know you have 5 presentations, right?
Yes.
Similar to the last one, we have 1, 2, 3. Sorry, my handwriting's bad. I don't like writing on the fly. But as long as you can read it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yes. So then it's gonna be separated by expert and language.
Yes, exactly. Great job. So in order to have each expert speaking one language, right?
Okay. Yes.
We have rule one. I guess what are the experts? So lawyer, curator,
Naturalist, an
L,
oceanographer,
N,
and a physicist.
O, a
And a,
physicist,
and a
O,
statistician.
P, S. Languages are Japanese, German, French, German, Japanese, Mandarin. Okay. So we have French, German, Japanese, Mandarin, right?
Yes.
So here's a very poor handwriting setup, but here it is, right?
Yeah, I know, I understand it. I literally made the same graph. I think I'm just gonna stick to this for now on.
Yeah, I think it works, right? And then so we have this, right? So this is kind of what we see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly two of the presentation are in the same language as the other, right? So I would
Yeah.
just write two in same L, right?
Yes.
So from here, what else do we realize?
In that first one,
Yeah, first of all, what do we see from the languages aspect? Do you want
I'm
to
sorry,
help?
what was it?
So like in this first rule, we kind of see, right, that there's gonna be two in the same language. So we know that no matter what, every language is gonna be used at least once, and there'll be one language used twice, right?
Yeah.
Because there's two in the same, and we have 5 spots of 4 languages. That means there's only one of these used twice. I'm actually gonna see a rule that kind of helps this later on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing about, like, okay, bam, there's only no language is used 3 times, so everyone is used at least once.
Okay.
So now we have the statistician gives a second presentation in German, right? So that really helps, just like last time, right?
Yeah. So it goes on 2 and then G at the bottom.
That was right. 2 = SG, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to write this if you don't want to, but I just like to write out all our rules so I know. So 3, lawyer gives the fourth presentation in either Mandarin or French, right?
Okay. So
4 =
before and then
lawyer.
like at the bottom you put M/F.
Exactly. So now we have
Okay.
that, right?
Yes.
Let's see,
And then
let's see, M/F, right? And we know 4. What's rule 4 say?
the oceanographer presents in either French or Japanese. The same is true for the physicist.
So if we know the physicist and oceanographer both have to speak in French or Japanese, right?
So are they the ones in the same language, two in the same language?
Not necessarily, if it makes like. So one could be French, one could be Japanese, right?
Okay.
Or both be French, both be actually. Rule 5 actually really helps us clear everything up, right?
And then
So rule 5 says the first presentation and the last presentation are Japanese, right?
Oh, okay. So you
So we
put
know
J.
Japanese is the language spoken twice, right?
Yeah. So O or P could go on 1 or 5.
Yep. They could also go on 3 though.
3. Oh, yeah.
Put French here and M is here. So not, does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, because there's no rule like canceling them out there.
Yeah. So what? So German, French, Japanese, Mandarin. So we know that 3 and 4 both have to be either Mandarin or French, right?
Yeah.
We see like so 3 has to be so either it's the opposite of the other one, right?
Wait, what?
So we know. Do we see why 3 has to be Mandarin or French?
Oh, because O and P are either going to be there.
Well, more so that we know J and G are already used everywhere else, right? So we know one of these spots has to have 3 has to have an M, or 4 has to have an M, and 3 has to have an F, or 4 has to have an F, right? Do we see why that is, or no?
No.
Okay. No, you're no, you're good. So so this is what we know from the rules, right? This is what the rules tell us, right?
Yes.
So we established that. So we know 3 can't be J, right?
Yeah, because it's already spoken. It's already out.
We know 2 can't be G, right?
2 can't be G.
Yeah, 2 can't be German. Or sorry, I'm sorry. 3 can't be German. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like, so
No,
I re-diagrammed it. I was like, what?
no, 2 is German. So 3 can't be German, right?
Okay, yeah.
So logically, the only options that the language can be for 3 is M or F.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense
It's
now.
kind of a different way to look at it, right?
Yeah, because the only languages spoken twice is Japanese, so it either go either way on 3 and 4 for the language.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So now we have pretty much all the diagrams we can make, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're kind of done here, right?
Yeah, and
We can't really
then
make more. Okay, so I guess so. Sometimes I like to do example ones, but it's a waste of time most of the time, right? So let's say, for example, let's say real quick, with E and L. Let's just, for example, we say this is what a lot of people do. They start making example ones and waste their time. So let's say we know the lawyer speaks Mandarin, right? If we this is an example of a game that could work. We know then 3 has to speak French, right?
yeah.
So if we know that, we know then that I guess anybody can spot anywhere really. But so I guess a better example would be, let's say the lawyer speaks French, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the lawyer speaks French, we know where everything is. Because then O and P have to be first and last because they have to speak French or Japanese. And N's the last thing left over, has to be there, right?
Yeah.
So we know if the lawyer speaks French, everything's determined. That's probably gonna be a question there, so I guarantee it. Let's see.
Which of the following could be in order?
All right. So for this one, you want to go from the rules to the so I think you want to go from the rules to the answer choices, right?
Yeah.
So exactly 2 of the presentations are in the same language. That doesn't really help us here, right? If it makes sense.
Wait, what was that?
So if we look at rule 1, right? 2 of the presentations are in the same language. That doesn't really help us, right?
Yeah, no.
So
And then the
presenters.
second one can though.
Yes. The statistician gives a second presentation in German. So we
A and
see that.
C
So
are
A and C immediately out, right?
Yeah.
Next, we'll go. The lawyer gives the 4th presentation, right? So B is out.
And D.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. So that's easy. So E is the correct answer, right?
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Which one of the following is a complete and accurate list of the experts, any one of whom could be one of the 2 who present Japanese? So we know the lawyer
N O and P.
Yep. Exactly. How'd you get there?
I put those were the variables that were not used, like the floaters. So when there's no rules, I kind of put them in the empty ones.
Yep. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It works.
Okay.
So now, if the naturalist presents in French, which one of the following could be true? So we know. So now it's where I should play the game a little bit, right?
Okay, so it will be third.
Yep. The naturalists have to be third, then, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So naturalists have to be third. And then we know O and P would have to be on the outsides, right?
Yeah, so they could go each other way.
Yeah, they can go either way. So we
And
know
then
we can eliminate oceanographer presenting third, right?
yeah, and like we kind of complete the diagram too.
Yeah, we do. We do fully the diagram.
Which of the following could be true? No, not the oceanographer. Yeah. Presents fifth. That could be true.
Yep.
And then the lawyer. No, because it's already French. Yeah. Okay.
So it's B, right?
Yeah. I was just looking at the other one just to see like it work in the graph.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's funny is I didn't even see this one before I mentioned that earlier. So what's the answer to number 4?
Which of the following is a complete accurate list of languages in which complete language in the third? French or Mandarin.
Right?
Yeah.
And is that your final answer? It's
Yeah.
right. It's right. Yeah, you're right. No, you're
Okay.
right. All right.
That's exactly how I'll answer like in my head like that, and then I'll second guess myself and be like, "Are you sure?" And I'll just like go back. I'm like, "Wait,
No,
let
don't
me."
second guess yourself. You know, but once you see it and you can see it in there, like bam, it works. Done. Move on.
Okay.
Suppose the condition that the statistician gives second presentation is replaced with a condition that the statistician gives either of the presentations in Japanese.
So it could be 1 or 5 then.
Yep. So now, so we know a statistician has to be 1 or 5, right? This is basically the
Yeah.
first rule. Just it's the first thing changing over, right?
Yeah.
So if statistician is it 1 or 5, you can kind of eliminate it, right? So you can eliminate A and C, right?
A and C. Yeah. Okay. So it'll be E.
Let's see. So how'd you get there?
Because the lawyer is still fourth.
Yes, but in B, the lawyer is still fourth.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one. I like. Okay. I was looking at. Okay. Let me see this real quick. And
honestly, if you're down to 2 and this is the last question and everything's gone pretty fast, I will just graph these 2 out real quick with the new rules, right?
okay.
So here I see, okay, so B, what does B say? So if I know lawyer still has to be 4, we know Japanese still has to be first and fifth, right? And we know lawyer speaks Mandarin or French. But we know that statistician first in both or last in both? Oh,
It could
last.
be.
So let's put him. So with rule 1, right? We have the naturalist, the oceanographer. What does it say for B? Physicist, lawyer, statistician, right?
Oh.
How I'm diagramming that. So we know that O and P both have to speak Japanese, right? or French.
Hold on. I
Right?
think I just diagrammed this too fast.
What'd you do?
1, 2, 3, 4. It's because I guess I started looking at the answers first and I just totally forgot about the rules. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower MF, MF, and suppose the condition of cessation is gives a second and is replaces either. Okay, so cessation could be 1 or 5, right?
How do we know that?
Because the Japanese are on either side, right?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
but they could also be in the middle of French too.
no. Oh, yeah.
So what are you doing right now? Like, if you like, are you like, how are you going about this? Because you already eliminated. You're between B and E now, right? That's all you're looking at. I think you're overcomplicating this, right?
Yeah, I am. I don't know why. And I'm like stuck. I can't even.
You're good. So once you're down between two answer choices, just diagram them, right? So
Yeah, let me.
B, so if you want to look at my screen, B says that we have NOPLS, right?
Yeah.
This one doesn't work, right? Because of rule 4. Because only one of these can be French, right? One of these two have to be German. Does that make sense?
Um. Oh,
We see why that is or no.
it's because like I hold on. I need to read the question. Hold on. Suppose a condition that the statistician gives a second presentation in German is replaced with a condition that the statistician gives either of the presentations given in Japanese. If all of the original stay the same.
So basically what we're doing is we're changing rule 2 to where S equals J, right? That's all we're doing.
So it doesn't. Could it still be second?
What, S?
Yeah.
No, S can only be in the J spots, first or fifth.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because of that
We
rule.
just
Okay.
we just moved that rule, right?
Okay.
So now we know that S can only be first or fifth. We know that if S can only be first or fifth, right?
Mm.
So we eliminated, because of that, we know we can eliminate A and C, right?
Yeah.
And then we can also eliminate D because the lawyer's not fourth.
Yeah.
So now we're between B and E. And what I would do is I would just diagram the two, right? So B is saying that we have NOPLS, right?
Yeah.
So if we have NOPLS, S is with J, O and P both have to be, because of rule 4, F or J, right?
Yeah.
But we know G has to be in one of these two spots. So this one doesn't work,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, because the lawyer speaks Mandarin.
Or French, either or. So
Yeah.
even if the lawyer speaks Mandarin, we still have to have G in one of these two spots, right?
Yeah.
So
On
this
2
one
and 3.
doesn't. What? Yeah, 2 and 3.
Okay.
So now let's try the last one, kind of show why it works. SONLP. SONLP. So we know J. We have G here, F here, and M here, right? And so
Yes.
E is the correct answer. You just I think I'm gonna make sure you get that the right way.
Uh,
So do we understand the last one? The last one was confusing.
I'm gonna probably have to go over it myself because
Okay,
I guess
that works.
yeah, I don't know why. Like as soon as like the new rule came in, I was just like, wait.
When it comes to these new rule questions, all you do is what you do is I throw away all my deductions I made from that rule, rule 2, right?
Yeah.
And I just basically put this new rule and and keep the deductions I already made, but like delete the ones from that rule, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I was having trouble with because I kept looking up at my
Like G should not be
deduction.
in spot 2 anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a weird question too, because I don't see that question that often. So, but
Okay. Yeah, but no, the other ones were actually not bad. I feel like if I did those by myself, like I would
yeah.
not have even gotten close to solving anything.
Yep. But, all right, well, that's been our hour, and I have to get out of here. So
Okay.
I hope you
Thank you
it
so
helped you
much.
today. No problem. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too.